Okay, yeah, what? Hi.
Read this all the time. Why do we start singing and shit when we'll even start?
I think it's because we don't know how to open the show, so we're just like, I'm here. I'm so sorry. Hold on, let me just log in. So we've got a viewer. Ooh, I've got an update. That's always good.
Oh well.
Don't care about it. I always
Um,
like to see what Twitch Prime's offering as well.
fuck.
Because they often like give away quite cool games. Oh, you motherfucker! Right, I'll tell you something. Right,
Right.
last night I paid what cold hard cash. I paid something like £6 for a game that I used to have on the Mega Drive called
Mhm.
Zombies Ate My Neighbor. Old Mega Drive game,
I remember that.
top down. That's the music. Doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Just went on Amazon Prime there. They're offering that game for free. I was like, oh, I mean, cool, but like, what's the chances of that? I guess it's because it's like had the spooky season and it's kind of like a horror kind of game. I'm gonna claim that though, and then I'm gonna have to play it on something else.
Well, I mean, PlayStation are kind of doing like we're getting better games for like the monthly subscription PlayStation Plus, whatever the Xbox gets, like that kind of thing, like a catalog of games.
Well, they kind of
Um,
had to up their game though, didn't they? I mean, that's also the future of gaming, but yeah.
Aye, because they kind of brought out the brand new WWE game, and I was like, fuck, I was going to buy that just to play the manager game mode because I just like that. It's just a fun thing. So I'm kind of glad I got that for free.
I can't believe that. I really can't get over that. That
Oh,
game is literally just 2 hours I've bought it. That's mental. Oh
and
well,
Dead
whatever.
Space.
Oh yeah, well I get Dead Space 3 with EA games because that's rolled into Game Pass. So you
Is
get a
that
bunch of stuff for
is
you.
that the remake
Mm.
one? What was the one they kind of
Hmm.
brought recently?
Yeah, the remake.
Is that Dead
You get
Space
you
3?
get 1, 2, and 3, and you get the remake as well.
Oh well, we only
Um,
get the remake. We get like one game. We get three games, but also no like a trilogy. It's just three different
mhm.
random games. Can't mind the other one.
Weirdly, what they do as
Was
well is with Mass Effect, you get the original Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, and you get Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
mm-hmm.
Um,
Aye.
which is fine because obviously you go back and play the original Mass Effect game now, it is unplayable because the control system was
Mm-hmm.
dog shit at the time and it played badly. And then they kind of updated it for Legendary and it's still god awful. But if you go back and play 1 and 2, mechanically those games are fucking terrible.
Mm-hmm.
You don't actually get it right till the third game, and even then it's just like okay. But anyway, so yeah. What are we doing? Why are we here? What's going on?
Well, we're here for a sanity check, and I mean, I don't know if this will be monthly, weekly, or daily. Imagine doing this daily. Fuck that.
Oh god.
So yeah, it's just I guess we're just doing it like it's not. Well, we'll also still do a wee bit of film relation if we miss anything, and obviously just news in general and whatever's happening with the
Hmm.
the channel.
I think so. I mean, it makes sense. With the amount of stuff that happens, like we always do movie stuff, and then we kind of like we veer into everything else.
Yeah.
There's no point in not just flinging up a podcast every now and again. It's like, hey, it's just me and Logan because we either didn't ask anyone or Sally couldn't make it. So I did suggest getting a guest, but they're like, yeah, we just like
Yeah,
talking
we
anyway.
don't we
So
don't like other people. We only like us three, and that's it. The
I'll tell
rest
you
is
one thing that
banned.
was interesting. The rest is banned. I'll tell you one thing that's interesting. Imagine doing a solo podcast. One of my one of the podcasters. I'm not gonna say one of my favorite podcasters because sometimes you listen to a podcast for a while
Hmm.
and slowly you start to realize that you hate the person that does it or just like the rubbish.
No.
Well,
What?
that's happened to me a few times. There's a few podcasts I used to listen to. It used to be called Unpopular Opinion. Now it's called You Don't Even Like This Podcast or You Don't Even Like This Show or something.
Right.
And
That's
I
edgy.
listened to it and I'm thinking, oh man, they kind of suck. Like sometimes they come out with statements like that is unequivocally wrong,
Hmm.
and I don't know why. There was one podcast they were talking about how the Queen of the UK like had all this like power and could do all this stuff, and I'm like, not really. Like, I mean, having lived in the UK, I've never once thought the Queen's in charge. I
Hmm.
was like, yeah. And I thought that's a weird thing. Like, oh yeah, she can like dissolve the government. Like, well, kind of, but like, it's not like she can just be like, government, you no longer exist. She can kind of they ask, and she like, okay, it's like ceremonial. So it's just weird. Anyway, just thought I'd bring that up. Um, but also sometimes it's very good. So, but occasionally when you listen to it, oh, I also listen to another one called Gainfully Unemployed, which is good. But the our reviews on the Marvel movies differ wildly, and one of the guys in it hated Alien Romulus,
Right.
And I was so angry the whole time I was listening to the podcast. I'm like, how could he hate that movie? It was so good. And everything that you listed that he hated about it, I loved about the movie. I was like, because they complained about Ash being in it. They complained about like all the kind of things that made it an alien movie. I'm like, but if you want an alien movie, you expect it to be an alien movie. Like you want alien shit to happen. So anyway, yeah, that's just a weird side thing. Yeah, sometimes podcasts you like them, but occasionally you hate the people in it.
So it's like
Anyway,
pretty much like a love and hate relationship we've got with a missus or something.
yeah, I think you spend so much time with podcasts now. Like you feel like you know the people, and then you're like,
Mm-hmm.
do I know really? Or are they just people, just voices in a box?
Well, I mean, you've seen my list that I put in the group chat on how many podcasts that I listen to, and I've still not got bored of them. Well, I got told to start Curb Your Enthusiasm with Larry David, and I got
Mm.
told they're doing a podcast on like each episode.
Wow.
So I thought, oh, cool, I'll start a wee bit of that. But because obviously the first season of Curb Your Enthusiasm, they have no idea what they wanted to do. It basically like it
Mm.
was just like they made it just so they can see where they can put the story and all that sort of stuff. I hated season one. Like I really
Oh
enjoyed it.
really?
Don't get me wrong, but see, going back with the podcast, I was like, I can't be arsed with this episode because I'm like, I actually hated this episode.
Mm.
So it was real weird,
Yeah.
but it is cool hearing like wee daft things about Larry David and like how he made the show and that. It's pure cool.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, Landon, he's like an immensely talented guy, and weirdly, nothing terrible's ever came out about him. Nothing more terrible than the stuff he's said about himself, anyway.
Not yet.
Oh yeah, wait till he dies.
That's when
I'll
it'll
tell
happen.
you the worst one that I listened to. Remember the TV show New Girl?
No.
Okay, there was a comedy show called New Girl that had Zoe Deschanel in it, who I love. I think she's great. Um, so they done a podcast that was meant to be a rewatch, and they were started. It was Zoe Deschanel and then two of the characters whose names I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
Doing the recast, doing the rewatch, and what you found out was like Zoe Deschanel in like real life is painfully unfunny. Like she is good at reading lines. She's got good comedic timing. She's a good comedic actor.
Aye.
But in real life, she is real boring and like not funny. And it went on so long, and they basically kicked her off the podcast. So they kicked the main star of the show off the podcast, or she just quietly left. I was never really 100% sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, imagine that, like you've got the star of the show, and you have to like let her go because she's dull. Yeah, there you go. Sorry, Zoe Deschanel. If you want to come on this podcast, we'd love it.
I'd
But
love to be have you
um,
as a guest.
yeah, well, then you can be boring on this show. It's fine. But yeah, that was a weird thing. Like, oh man. But I've not actually done it. I'm trying to think. The only other rewatch podcast I've listened to, I've never watched the show, and it's called Big Feet, and it's about mountain monsters. The show on the Travel Channel,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just because it's got three comedy writers that I really like, and they just talk about the show. But I don't actually watch the show. I just like to hear them talk about things.
I only listen
Yeah.
to the comedians. Obviously like
Mm.
Bobby Lee, Bad Friends. That is fucking great. It's just basically like they just slag each other off for a full episode. I'm like, this is great.
I think Mac Nelson to Rogan. That was always the best episodes of Rogan when he just had his comedy friends on, and they just like kind
uh,
of bullshit for ages.
the Joey Diaz ones
Um,
are still all the iconic ones.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, Joe Diaz came on and he was just like, I mean, that human being just existing is insane. You just like rattle it, just out of nowhere, he just tell you some insane story, and you're like, oh wow,
I'm
Joe Diaz.
I'm halfway through his book, The New.
Hmm.
Holy shit, man! Like it is like basically trauma dumping, and it's like the stuff he says. I'm like, how the hell did he like no like fucking top himself for that? You know what I mean? Like he was talking about
Hmm.
the death of his ma, saying like how he was like I think he was about 13 and she basically had an overdose or a heart attack at the time, and he didn't know for reals, and he was just in his room, and it was like fucking hell. So
Wow.
it's fucked up book, but it's great at the same time. Like, it is good to see on his life and all. Although how he's like a great comedian in that sort of sense.
I have this quite a lot with these. You find that these comedians like they go through all this trauma, and at the end they kind of come out funny because they don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
Because like I just don't know what else to be apart from funny. Because if I think about any of this stuff, I'll just fall apart. Which is why we say about Happy Sally, who's not here tonight.
Yeah.
She laughs and she jokes, and then she tells you stuff that traumatizes you. You're like, oh, cool.
She could be a
It's kind of
comedian.
weird. Yeah, she could have been a comedian. chose not to be. She chose to go on her podcast instead.
Actually, speaking of Joe Rogan, just because you mentioned
Mm.
him, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris might be on the podcast very soon.
What, on the Rogan show? What,
Yep.
together?
Well, not together. For
All right.
I think it'll be two separate episodes.
Mm.
So they've got 2 weeks from now to decide if it's got to happen or not. But people are thinking Trump will do it easily because Rogan's maybe like a Trump fan or something. And if he gets Kamala in, I think he'll just rip into her.
I don't. I mean, Rogan never really goes that hard on people in his. He never like puts them on the spot.
He's done it a few times.
Really, that must be a more recent thing because I always remember the bulletproof coffee guy. He had on loads of times and then stopped having him on, and then eventually mentions like, yeah, I like literally paid money to check out all the things he was saying because I was like he was making some claims. I'm like, that doesn't sound true.
Aye.
And then he just paid he actually paid a lab to like test his coffees and that. He's like, these aren't any better than like the coffees that like my other friends offer. Like these don't have like he's saying it's got all these like special properties.
Aye.
And when we test, he's like, it doesn't. But he just stopped having the guy on the podcast, which I always thought was really interesting. I'd listened to like 5 of that guy's podcasts with him. And I was like, oh, this guy's really clever. He knows all this stuff. And I was like, no, I was wrong. That's kind of when I was like, I need to fact check things on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah. Some of them. Actually, there was an episode everybody thought, oh, if he gets this guest on, it'll be like the best one ever. It became the most worst one he's ever put out, and I was
really?
excited for it. And do you know who the guest was?
Oh.
Kanye West.
I'd imagine he would just be a bad podcast guest. I'd imagine he just wouldn't make any sense.
Well,
What was bad about it? Review it.
So it was basically, I've not got a problem with religion, but obviously he's a man of God, and basically he was just chatting about God, and then there's a part he's talking about Star Wars on how George Lucas, he basically based Luke Skywalker off him because obviously George Lucas,
Mm-hmm.
then it's Luke Skywalker. So he basically was saying
Right,
like how, and then he made the joke says he kissed his sister. Like that as a joke. I was like, that's kind of funny, but still, it was shit episode.
Yeah, I can't imagine that Kanye West would be like very funny or really understand how to speak to human beings anymore because he's Kanye West.
Well, he did just like old podcast clips you see of him. He just tells stories and they're kind of funny. Like he says that he loves being sued because he can just be himself. Because he does like so many like annoying things, like pure childish things in the courtroom. It's kind of funny. It is real funny. I'll need to send you a few of the links because that is
I mean,
great.
fair enough. So the Kanye one, fair enough. I did I watch I can't remember if I watched the ones with when he had like Alex Jones and that on.
Oh,
They've probably not aged well, to be fair. Alex Jones, well, he got sued into oblivion. I don't know if he's still doing his show, but he was like bad stuff happened to that guy. If you remember Sandy Hook, don't know if you remember much about Sandy Hook.
No.
I was trying to remember like how it says. Some relatives of mine, they got really deep into the Sandy Hook things. Basically said Sandy Hook had a mass school shooting, and what he went on his show and said was basically that they were all actors. It was all crisis actors. None of it was real. It's all been like a kind of psyop. They love that word psyop by the government to like try and get your guns. And he just peddled this kind of like theory for ages to the point where like people were phoning up the parents of kids who had been killed and saying they were liars.
Oh, shit.
So imagine that, you're sitting in a house, your kid's been murdered, and you get a phone call saying, "You're a fucking liar, man, you're a government shill," and like just screaming at you like in the street. People are like going to their houses and calling them names and stuff. So surprisingly, the people of Sandy Hook got together and would like filed a lawsuit against Alec Jones. And it ruined him. Like it's taken his whole empire. I don't know if he's still going. I think he might still be, but it's like he got done for that, and all the money. They just got awarded all the money, and then like I think other people are kind of coming out the woodwork and be like, well, we'll sue him as well. Who knows what any of them will ever get? Because I imagine his whole empire will just fall apart.
It will, because I can't imagine him coming back. That's unless he does pull something out, but I doubt it.
He might end up just like some kind of weird fringe thing, but he'll end up penniless. Like he's not gonna have any money, like because he can't. Any money he's made, he has to pay to this. So like he won't be able to make any money. But yeah, that was crazy. But yeah, Sandy Hook conspiracy. Look that one up. That one's bonkers. Oh, talking about conspiracies. I don't know how much of this stuff you follow online. Do you know about the kind of the hurricane that was hitting Florida?
Kinda. I seen clips. Like, I seen there was actually a few people I had on Facebook that went to Florida when it was happening, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why are you
Why would
even
you
there?
choose to do that? That seems weird. Well, what the big conspiracy from the right was at this time. This is why I'm never sure if I should say these things because it's like you know how sometimes like your Facebook becomes like a weird echo chamber and you're only getting one part of the story.
Aye.
Well, the bit I was getting was people saying was I don't know if it was people on the left saying that the right are now convinced that we can control the weather and we're using our weather control machines to
Mhm.
blast a hurricane at Florida. I'm like, that seems weird, but it kept popping up. I'm like, what a weird thing to believe that we can control the weather. Like, if we could control the weather, we'd use that all the time for all kinds of things. We wouldn't use it to try and kill people with wind. We would use it to, like, put water in places that we need water. But yeah, that was just a big thing that was floating out. But obviously, you've not seen that, so I guess it's not filtered through to whatever part
Actually,
of the sphere
um,
you're on.
speaking of the flooding, one of my
Mm.
one of my favorite part of the flooding, which I didn't know this was a genuine kind of famous guy in Florida. There's a guy called Lieutenant Dan. It
Mm-hmm.
just so apparently he was just in his boat during the hurricane, just sitting there, just surviving. He
Mm.
literally just got arrested today because he didn't go through any health and safety stuff. He basically just wanted to sit in his boat, and then this flooding this was all happening at the time. So yeah, he got
Is
arrested
that
for that. But I like how he's called
hmm.
Lieutenant Dan. I was like,
Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump, isn't it?
that's
Lieutenant Dan.
what
Yeah,
I was
that's
thinking.
like, why do I know that name? Yeah, so that's obviously Lieutenant Dan from that. That's weird. Yeah, fair enough. Oh dear. So yeah, so Lieutenant Dan got arrested because he didn't do his health and safety checks.
Yep,
Fair enough.
America. What can we say?
America, it's fucked up.
Actually, the election's soon, isn't it? Is that a couple of weeks
Yes, mate.
time?
It is November time. They're like, oh, wait, that's not, yeah, it's soon actually. Yeah, it's a couple of weeks away.
Oh,
Um, that's going to be insane.
can
It's weird how like, hmm?
should we say who we think's got to win it?
Oh, well, who do you think's going to win it?
Trump?
I think Kamala's going to win it.
Oh, really?
Interesting. Yeah.
Okay, right. Why do you think Kamala's got to win it?
I think they're going to have enough people that are just a bit too concerned about the Trump stuff. I also think they've done a very, very, very clever tactic this time
Okay.
because I think the Americans always have this, like, see the British system, which I'm not saying is perfect by any manner of means, but we kind of run on who we hate the most at that time. So it's like, oh, we were so sick of the Tories, we vote Labour.
Yeah.
That's it, right? There's like, oh, they'll say we're going to fix it this way, blah 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 blah. The American system is just seems more cartoonish than ours. And it's like who can get the most like zingers? Like
Mhm.
whoever gets the most zingers seems to get to be president. And Trump, no matter what you think of it, he's good at zingers. He's really good at nicknames
He's
like
great.
Sleepy Joe and all that kind of stuff. Crooked Hillary. And I'm like, because I sat one day, when I was driving to work for a while, I kept trying to think of a good one for Donald Trump, and I couldn't think of one. I'm like, it's meant. I bet you if he had to make one for himself, he'd be like, boom,
Mhm.
straight away, and it's just something word, and then the name, and it's just like it's just enough to make, and it just kind of connects together. So I can't actually remember what he says for Camilla, but I think he made the mistake of making it a bit too racial, and folk don't like that. Anyway, that's
Aye.
not my point. My point being is, he stokes up a lot of kind of anti whatever sentiment, and all the people on the left went kind of weird though, isn't it? And they kind of like pointed out how weird it is that he's kind of always bashing people and how like they're anti all these things, and they're just like got their family out supporting them, all these kind of positive things because there's all these pictures of like him and Melania Trump.
Mhm.
Like he'll turn around and Melania will smile and laugh, and as soon as he turns away, her face will like immediately
She
change because
changes.
she hates him. There's all these like you never see him and his kids together for any length of time. It's always like political events and
Mhm.
things. Like he's forced them to come. Whereas the left are like they're showing you all these pictures of them like really joyously supporting their family and they seem to really care about each other. So I think they've just went really, really well. They're saying they're the party of family values, but they don't seem to care about their family. Whereas here's us just genuinely being together, which I thought was really clever. And they basically just keep referring to the other side as weird little guys, like weird little angry men. Like why are they all so angry all the time? Like we're just trying to like be fight. We're just trying to be cool. So I reckon that'll work. I reckon a lot of people are like, I don't want a weird angry guy. I want to be like somebody that's loved by my family. Because who wants to admit that they're a fucking creepy weirdo? So
I agree on that part, but
Hmm.
I think it's a bit different on compared to him getting shot. So
Mm,
I
that was a
I
big
would
one as
have
well.
said differently because obviously before the shooting happened, right? So because of the shooting, because you've seen the video yourself. He literally like once he gets shot, he's still standing there and he's saying, "Oh, let me get my shoes." Like he's built this mere like persona now. Like he's a fucking gangster. Like he's like no
Yeah.
one's fucking with me. And then obviously like he came back. He came back at that same location, and then and I think it's like what was it, a few weeks after that,
Mm.
and they said, "Oh, what was he saying? He was saying something like, oh," and then I was saying, and then everybody was like, "Holy shit!" Even that, like
Yeah.
the after he got shot and he did his next talk, he came out with "Many Men," like the 50 Cent song. Like that's getting views. That's getting more knowledgeable. So like people are gonna be like, "Holy shit, this guy's the real deal," kind of thing. I know he's
That is.
been president and all that sort of stuff, but you know you're gonna get some of these dumbasses that's gonna be like, oh, like we need like a proper American gangster, like kind of president in a way. You know what I mean? Like you get what I mean? So I
Yeah,
think
I
that's
can't
what.
argue with that, mate. It's a very valid point. He's America loves the tough guy image.
Yeah,
They love that shit. Like that's a thing in this country we don't get. Like we never think of like our statesmen as like tough guys. They don't ever have to be tough. They have to be tough on
it's like
subjects,
American Made
but
Men.
like physically tough. Yeah, they love like cowboys and like army men, which he's none of that. He's none of any of those
Yeah,
things. He he dodged the draft and all that kind of stuff. But he is sort of the idea of a tough guy coming in, solving all the problems about how tough he is. Whereas like I think they're one of the few countries that that's who they want to elect.
mm-hmm.
Like we never thought, oh, Keir Starmer, he's a tough guy.
He's a
He's
little
gonna be,
bitch.
like he's a politician,
Yeah,
but he seems like he's smart and knows how to get things done. Rishi Sunak, to be fair, who was never voted in,
yeah.
but again, he seemed like competent. He seemed like an accountant, like he knows how to make numbers bigger. But the Americans love it. Interestingly enough, I just listened to a podcast, Behind the Bastards, highly recommend, and it was about Eugene Talmadge, and he was a kind of dictator governor back in the like 20s, 30s, and 40s.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's the same playbook as Trump. It's like basically anti-black people, anti like anything that's not white he didn't like, and he had like red suspenders, which we'd call bracers,
Right.
as opposed to the red hat. But there's all these parallels you could join, and he was like a tough guy. He was like, oh, we ain't letting the blacks get a vote. All that because he didn't call them
Mm-hmm.
blacks. He called them a different thing.
Aye.
But like on record, he called them a different thing. Um, and if you if you listen to that podcast, it's amazing. And it's like they kind of mentioned the whole way through. It's like this has never changed. They changed the words. Like they won't call it like I forget. Like they won't call it white supremacy anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They'll call it like DEI is the kind of popular one in America. But that's just like I'm trying to think what you would know that one as. But it's basically like making sure that everyone gets a chance at the job,
Mm-hmm.
not just the white guy.
Aye.
Whereas they can't say we only want the white guy to get it, so they have to call it a different thing. It was what's the other one they called it? Oh Christ, it was no, it's gone. But racial like race theory, all that kind of stuff didn't
Right.
that taught in school.
Mm-hmm.
Any of the stuff where like white people doing bad things, we can't teach that. It's like, well, we did do some bad stuff. I mean, you know, it's okay. Like we didn't do it, but like
Aye.
the whites did. But so yeah, it's just interesting if you listen to that and then kind of like how it filters through to today's American politics. In Britain, we're a bit more subtle about that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I mean,
that was the
Winston
American
Churchill was
stuff.
a big racist, I know. Mind
Oh, yeah,
that.
he would. He hated especially the Indians. Ooh, he said some stuff. Go back to the 40s zone, like point to any guy and see how big a racist they are. It'd be
Aye.
more uncommon to find non-racist people.
I feel
We'll try to be
I
better.
feel like we're spiraling down somewhere, so we need to try and change the
Yeah,
subject.
we'll move away from this, right? Yeah. So anyway, the American election is going to be funny. You've got one for Kamala with me, and Logan thinks Trump's going to win. It's not really going to affect us. I don't live in America. It'll just be annoying to hear about in the
It,
news for 4 years.
it's interesting though, like how we, although we do care about the UK politics, right? But we don't care it as much as we do with what's going on in America the now. Like,
Mm.
see when also the shooting, the assassination happened at Trump. Literally everybody was talking about it, so it was like to me, America is like a big EastEnders episode. Something's happening every single day.
Yeah, yeah. There's certainly more theatre to it. That's another thing they talked about in that
Yeah.
podcast. It's all theatrics. Like Trump portrays the kind of tough guy image, but the man's never worked a day in his life. He's never like done hard labor.
Yeah.
He's never had to do anything. He like handed his whole life on a plate. He's actually like he's a fat cat. He's just like a man that was born rich, stayed rich, and then varying levels of rich. But he likes to kind of portray himself as a working class man.
Aye.
The man's never struggled for anything in his life. But yeah, politics of theatre. Whereas in UK, we're just a bit more subtle. I'm not saying we don't do it, because if you watch the House of Lords, they boo each other and stuff, which is weird. But
Aye,
yeah, yeah.
House of Lords is an interesting thing. I don't know how
I'm trying to get
you
rid
would
of it.
describe it.
Again, I think to Americans it sounds bonkers. It's like, so we have this house where just like peers get to go and sit in it and just hang out, and they just get to be unelected but make decisions. I'm like, kind of. It is weird, but the Labour is trying to get rid of it. They've shrank it, and they're going to try and get rid of it because it is stupid. Anyway, that's boring. What else should we talk about?
Should we talk about the thing that's been breaking the world now?
Yeah, broke some pavements. Go on then.
Well, you're going to say something else there.
Obviously, worse than the breaking pavements, he fucking broke a pavement on the way when he hit the ground. But aye,
he was in a lot of pain. So Liam Payne died. Obviously, he died.
a lot of pain.
He was age 31. I had the notes on this. Sorry, let me read that again. So obviously, the tragic death of Liam Payne died this week. Was it Monday?
4 days ago now, yeah.
So he was also the former One Direction member. He was 31 when he passed away after a fall from the hotel balcony in Buenos Aires, Argentina. This has shocked fans and celebrities alike, with tributes pouring with a fellow One Direction members across Hollywood. So, I don't know, man. This was. I mean, I knew something was going to happen a few weeks ago. We were talking about this in work, and it was Liam. Obviously, like the algorithm on TikTok shows you like whatever. So it was his girlfriend was doing TikToks with him, and there was something funny happening, and I was like, yeah, something's gonna happen in a few weeks. Then this happens.
I think with a guy like that, I think his struggles with mental health has been kind of well documented. I believe he's had a stint or two in rehab, but it's obviously not stuck. And the unfortunate thing for a guy like him is that I'm never sure how wealthy they are, but I'd assume he was like rich. So you're young, you're rich, you became very wealthy and like world renowned at what age? He was like what, 14, 15, 16? So let's
18.
say
He started at 18.
Okay. 18-year-old boy. You're a boy when you're 18. You're not yet a man. You're on the cusp of manhood. You're still living with your mum and dad, whatever. You get shot in international stardom on a TV show, which you came third in, which I didn't realise until today when I was Googling them. So 18-year-old, all of a sudden, all your needs are taken care of. You've got your managers, you've got your hangers-on, you've got, the record company. Everyone's making sure you've got everything you need. They style you, they kind of like, get you at the gym, and they kind of get you all as handsome as you can be, looking after you and stuff. So you never kind of have to mature at any level because everything's looked after for you. Like, you've had to kind of do stuff, you have to work for a living. You've got to make positive choices. You've got to make sure you've got money in your bank to pay for your bills or whatever. He didn't. So he kind of got caught in this weird bubble for a few years. And I think One Direction only existed, was it for 6 years? Was it 2010, 2016, something like that?
Oh, why is saying that? I think it was. It was no.
Give or take, right?
A couple of years.
Yeah. So you've got this boy who then kind of like ages, but like, does he mature? No. And then all of a sudden you're throwing all this money at him. And then before he knows it, 6 years. 6 years isn't that long. 6 years is a long time. But also it's not, right? The difference between 18 and 24 is nothing. And then it comes to an end. And now you're this 24-year-old and you're at the top of your game. You've made all this money. You've got this money in the bank. And what's left to do? Like, you could retire. Everywhere you go, there's people throwing themselves at you. How do you have a real relationship with anyone? Because everyone knows here. I've also, just a quick side note, which I felt really bad about. If you'd showed me a picture of One Direction 2 weeks ago and said to me, which one of them's Liam Payne? I would have known who Harry Styles was, because I know who Harry Styles is, because he had hair that I recognise. And I'd have known who Zayn Malik was,
right?
Because he was the Asian one.
Aye.
That's all I would have. Out the other three guys in that, I could not have put into one of them and says, that's Liam Payne. because I was watching the video today because it's obviously it's One Direction video after One Direction video now, and I'm like, I don't know who any of these guys are. Like, I don't know which one of them is Liam Payne. Which I feel
Actually,
guilty about, but also what's
I
that?
forgot one of them because I was saying, oh, like Harry, Liam, Niall, Zayn, and I forgot. Oh my god, what's his
The other
name?
one.
Louis, Louis.
Mate,
I
I
don't know
could
that
I
one.
could have told you the two names I told you. If you'd asked me who they are 2 weeks ago, those are the two names I could have told you. I couldn't have told you Liam Payne. And that, even if you went, that's the one that
That's
when it was Cheryl
that's
Cole, I'd have went, I
surprising.
thought that was Carrie because I didn't know that. I knew one of them kept banging like older birds for a while, which was pretty cool.
Is that no Liam?
That was Liam.
Aye.
I know that now, right? I just knew one of them kept going out with a woman that was like way older than him,
Yeah.
which I thought that was kind of cool. Like, also like, has this guy got some mummy issues because he keeps going out with birds that are older than him? So back to what I was saying. So he becomes at top of the game, young man, all the money he could ever use, famous, probably goes anywhere he wants, doesn't have to pay for anything. Like he's always got people throwing themselves at him. How does this guy have a relationship? So of course he's going to get wasted all the time. Because why wouldn't you?
Aye.
You know. And then life goes on, and then he probably starts questioning himself. Like every relationship he gets in, he's like, does this person only like me because of who I am? Like because I'm Liam Payne from One Direction. Because I think the girl he was going out with recently was a waitress. Like,
I think so because she was making a lot of TikToks, and that's what kind of made me no predict something's going to happen, but like made me think he's a bit odd. Like there was something going on. I don't know how to describe it, but also whoever's like listen to the podcast and have seen actually the TikToks will know what I'm talking about. Because I literally I woke up and it was on BBC News and I was like, why is he on the telly? But it didn't say like oh he died. Like didn't say like down the bottom or like Liam Payne died at age 31 or that. So I was like, I had to search this up and I was like, oh fuck, didn't know he actually that happened to him.
it was one of these things that popped up on my phone. I'm like, who's that? Oh, okay, One Direction guy. All right, cool.
But I got a few people messaging me about it like in group chats, and I literally did not see it. Like I just went straight. Well, I seen the messages come through, but I just didn't check them when I went to my bed, and then I woke up and seen this. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's bonkers. Like, I mean, but like, it's one of the things I get why that would have happened to him. So I mean, I do enjoy the rumor mill and that. It's like when that dude went missing, it turned out he was dead down a ditch. Like it was people like he was thrown off. I don't think he was. I think he was absolutely steaming and fell off that balcony. It does. This is a sad. I'm gonna now say a kind of mean thing. I'm not being mean. It's real sad that that guy died. I know he had a kid, and the kid's now got to grow up without a dad. That's all super duper sad. However, it was so the girlfriend had kind of put some stuff up saying that she wanted privacy, absolutely entitled to it. But she'd left early.
Yeah.
She'd actually left the holiday. She's like, "Oh, I don't like staying in one place for too long." It's like, hen, up until last year, you're a waitress. What do you mean? You unless you're independently rich, what are you talking about? But that's fine. She went home a little bit early. What she really means is we've been arguing because he's partying too hard and I could not handle this anymore and wanted to go back home.
Well, there's more to that. So
Ooh, good name.
it turns out, BBC News and that were saying about how he was actually dropped for his record deal, a couple of days obviously before obviously his death.
All right.
But she did say on TikTok was saying, "Oh, we were there for like 2 weeks straight," but she also wanted to leave, so that's why she left 2 days after he died.
I thought she left before he died because he was hanging out with
Sorry,
sex workers.
before he died. That's what I meant.
Right.
It's too late for this now.
Yeah.
So
Well, that was where I was leading with that one because she went home and then he contacted some women online, sex workers, who then went and partied with them. Like,
right.
so I mean, how's that relationship working if like she goes home early and he immediately goes to some sex workers and get them? So what's their relationship really been like?
Well, here's the thing. It's like what you said that he just shags a lot of old women. So
Mm.
so he might just
Well,
be
that's what I'm
back
saying.
to
This is the
that.
guy that's never been told no. It's that nobody says no to him. He's got a girlfriend, but she must know the score. It's like, if you don't give me what I want, I'll just pay for it. Like, I have no qualms. Like, I'm Liam Payne. I can get another girlfriend like that.
Right.
And she would have to count on him for everything. And again, I don't know anything about her. Maybe she is independently wealthy. Maybe she does have plenty of money. But has she got Liam Payne money? Like, has she got not have to work, go wherever you like kind of money? So, again, shame. Feel bad for that dude. Feel bad for that guy's kid. But apparently I hadn't seen this kid for like a few years either.
I didn't know that. Well, yeah,
So
that kind of makes sense because I don't think he really speaks to Cheryl.
from what I read, again, I've not done any research into it. It just seemed to say that he hadn't kind of been a big part of the kid's life. So I'm guessing he got some visits, but not very often.
Hmm.
And like it's hard to be, you're made a dad when you're like, a very young man,
Yeah.
and then you're laying pain and you're busy traveling all the time. There was talk that he'd been trying to get back into the kid's life, but I mean that's the kind of thing they always say when people die. I was trying to do this. Was he trying, or did he make one phone call?
Hmm.
Um, but not to shit in the dead guy. Sorry, Liam Payne. I would like to know now if you could go back in time and say to 17-year-old Liam Payne, right, Liam Payne, you got two options. One, world famous, all the money, all the birds, dead at 31, or don't bother going to the X Factor and go and become a brickie and live a normal life. Which one do you pick? Is it better to burn out than to fade away? Or do you think you would like on the way down? You're like, worth
Fuck's
it.
sake, right, cancelled the last one, haven't we? Getting on the One Direction haters next.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's super duper sad, man. But
It's
should
got
they put?
it sounds sad because I know a lot of people wanted a One Direction reunion, but now they're literally
Mhm.
just going to reunite at the funeral. That is literally the line they'll get next.
Yeah, this is gonna be a tough one for One Direction because it's like, I mean, I don't know if any of them need it now because I know like Zayn and Harry still release music. And the other two guys are probably quite happy just living their
Well,
lives.
Zayn's a Yu-Gi-Oh player.
What?
Yeah, this I like. Oh mate, I'm not even joking. I seen this a couple of weeks ago. So Zayn literally streams playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and he's literally like a Yu-Gi-Oh champion. So there was a
Good for
video
him.
of him recently, and it was like this guy dressed in black, and he had this. I think it must be a Yu-Gi-Oh character mask, and it says,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, we've got this big guest that's got to play with us and all that sort of stuff." And it was Zayn, and I was like, "Wait, if you're One Direction?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "What the fuck?"
Rather that's what like Liam had done. Like get into something that you
Yeah.
love doing and just do that. Like Frankie Muniz from Malcolm in the Middle. Don't know if you remember that show or if you've
Aye.
seen it. He got really into stock car racing and just became
Oh
a
yeah,
stock car racer.
he's like a big thing in racing now.
Yeah, like I think he's like professional stock car racer now. It's like got plenty of money, but he thought, well, I'm just gonna find something that I love doing and do that.
Aye.
And Liam Payne liked shagging birds and like doing drugs. And Zayn Malik went, no, no, no. I like Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm gonna do Yu. But which one's gonna be healthier in the long run? Eventually,
Yu-Gi-Oh!
just
It's like
just streams. Yeah, good for him, man. But Yu-Gi-Oh, that's badass. Good for him. I'd love it if one of them like just got really into like wicker basket making or something, and that's just what they do. Made that really big.
yeah.
So we've solved it. Any one of these guys, once they stop the band finishes, they've got to start streaming them doing the thing that they like, no matter how nerdy or stupid it is.
I actually have something that kind of relates to that, by the way. So
Mm,
I know you got to get sick of this when I say UFC. So there was
oh, UFC! I didn't expect you to mention UFC at all.
so there was this guy. He got like a knockout. He got like one of the mentalist knockouts for the Dana White Contender Series. That basically gets you into the UFC. And it turns out the guy was a model, like a runway model.
All right.
So he just basically went, no, I don't want to be a model anymore. I just want to fight people in a cage. And I thought that is the most craziest thing I've ever seen.
So he's looking in the mirror one day, going, "I am ridiculously, unbelievably good looking,
Aye.
but my true calling is punching people really hard until they fall asleep." And he went, "I'm going to make money at the runway thing, and then we'll start punching people." Good for him.
It's the most, because I've seen people talk about this, and I'm like, is this a meme? Is this like something? Is this something I've missed? And the guy was literally like a full on like runway model.
Does he have a name?
Um, I can't remember
Hmm.
what's his name now. Uh, no, it's just coming up the actual referee, the ring girl models now. That's not what I wanted. Oh well, I
The
don't know.
runway model becomes UFC fighter. Good for him.
I feel like this full week has been crazy with weird things.
Hmm.
The Grand Theft Auto Hamlet.
Huh?
Mind the thing I sent you about Hamlet is coming to cinemas. The Grand Theft Auto game.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Mine went to a different place. I was thinking it was going to be a game set in like medieval times, but it was going to be like Grand Theft Auto. I was like, that game is going to be bad. But okay, yeah, what you're saying. Yeah, the Hamlet thing, I don't know. I get why they're doing it, but also I'm like, I just don't care.
I don't get why they're doing it in general. I know you get bored in lockdown, but we've been out of lockdown for a good while now.
Yeah, been at lockdown for a couple of years, guys. You just could have just went like, you know what? Nobody wants to see this, so let's not do it. And they're like, nah, we're doing it. Hamlet in GTA 5, and it's getting a cinematic release.
Yeah, so this is gonna be in Cineworld or something. It's like one specific cinema it's doing it. I don't know what one it is though. So it's getting an exclusive showing at certain cinemas. Because I found it out was by Mubi, who's like who else? It's like Netflix, but like they bring out a very like niche film each day, and then they take away a film. So like I seen Old Boy for an example. They bring that out, and then it gets taken away after 30 days, and then they posted about it was like a screenshot of Grand Theft Auto Online, and I'm like to myself like, why are they posting about Grand Theft Auto? And then I read it, and it says yeah they've made a Hamlet version of Grand Theft Auto, and I'm like, what? But
Kind of weird, yeah.
there's no like a trailer. Like the trailer is just it just looks like a bunch of YouTubers just in um the lines for Hamlet just in Grand Theft Auto Online.
What I took from it, because when I seen it, I'm like, I don't know how good this is. Like if it was done really, really well, but is it going to be done really well? Or is it just going to be like the guys moving kind of weird and standing on a thing and then just doing the lines?
Yeah, pretty much.
But why would that be better? Like, are they going to move and emote with their bodies, or just be like the line from? I don't know. It just seemed like a weird thing to do. I mean, not everything weird has to be done. I think they always get this kind of. They always get this weird thing that they end up doing. Oh, we're gonna do it. Oh, why are we doing this? Because we can. It's like you don't have to just because you can. Like, are you trying to just get noticed? But saying maybe if someone does get noticed, maybe that is a good thing.
A wee bit of attraction, let's say, anyway.
Who knows? It was a weird thing. I don't know. I mean, I've got nothing to say about it because I'm just like, I just don't know why you would bother. Like, why go to this effort?
Yeah, it's one of the things. It's like, how did you come up with the idea? That's my question. Is like how the fuck did they come up with that?
Well, I think quite often with these things, they get you get like the game engine, and you can do all kinds of things in these game engines, and just people use them for specific things. So we've made this game engine, we've made Skyrim, we've got this game engine, we've made this shooting game. Like, but you can do anything with it. It's like, yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. Don't know why you'd want to, but you did. I've got nothing to add to that. Stupid idiots, waste their time. Oh, yeah, it's
wait, 2 seconds, dog's flattening in. 2 seconds.
Go get your dog. Just while we're talking about that, actually, things that are coming up on the channel. Well, that was quick. Okay, things that come up on the channel. Tomorrow, I'm going to be streaming some D&D bullshit. It's going to be a Halloween themed episode starring Vary, Rachel, and Leon. I'll get Leon to stream it hopefully, and it's just it's called the Pump King, and it is basically big tough pumpkin people. And gym puns, which I thought was very funny.
We were just pumping a king, and that was
it. Get pumped king. And yeah, so we're going to be doing that one tomorrow. Tuesday I'll be doing my own game. Scotland. Hopefully we're doing Call of Cthulhu on Monday, but I don't know if we're streaming it. We should because it's great. Also doing Walking Dead stuff at the end of the month as well. Although I bought the Walking Dead thing from Free League, it's given me a book and like a game engine. The problem I have with it is it doesn't give you any modules, so I've got to write a Walking Dead scenario. I'm like, I don't know if I can be bothered doing that.
Just rewatch The Walking Dead and get ideas.
Well, that's actually, I'm going to start reading some more, and I'm going to start reading some kind of apocalyptic fantasy so I can think of better things to put in games. But I might just wait till they do an expansion and just do the full, just read whatever expansion they've got and use that.
Right.
But that's coming up. Usually I run Alien doing Halloween, but I couldn't be arsed this year, so I've not.
I'm not getting into one of the games again, but too busy.
The problem you got is that you don't really care. You get bored immediately in the games and start doing crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So we'd have to find one that's specific to your play style, which is real hard. but in the nope, in the Walking Dead game, I've got Vary, Rachel, Vary's husband, whose name escapes me right now, but I do know it. Murray, and I think there was still a space left. That is a short, by the way. So if you want to, that's literally that should be done in one night, then maybe two.
What days then?
I might aim for like around about Halloween, to be honest, because I think we've got the podcast on the beginning of November.
No, mind it. We're doing it the Wednesday before Halloween.
Oh, the 30th.
Yeah,
Okay, well, I'll see what's happening. Because I still need to watch the films I talked about.
I don't.
Which films was it, Logan? Do you remember?
It was Halloween, Coraline, and one you said I don't really remember.
History of Violence,
That's it. So I
which
will
is
go
only an hour and a half long.
because
Yeah, I actually was going to go and watch it tonight.
to be fair, I was not expecting us to do another Halloween special, but I mean, I'm kind of glad. It's gonna be cool.
Oh yeah, see, we've done quite well, so we should absolutely go for it. But yeah, we've got stuff coming up. I'm just being too lazy with actually not running things, and I really should, but I just can't be arsed. Everyone else is. We've just lost so many players recently because nobody's playing in bloody games anymore.
Aye,
But it's fine.
it's life. We all burn
It
out
gets in the way.
eventually, but then they'll all come
Yeah.
back anyway, so it's not too bad. But I've
hmm
got a few questions.
Oh god, that was just the stuff you got from ChatGPT.
Yeah, let's not say that. Let's say it's from our viewers, just in case.
Our viewers, ChatGPT watches the show.
They should sponsor us, but I don't know how they would sponsor us. But okay. So I've got the first question here. What's been the most memorable moment or story from one of your TTRPG campaigns so far?
The one that sticks in my mind the most, of anything we ever done, was when Miri, in season one of Mutant, which I think was episode maybe 6 or 7, when she decided to, what I'd set up for you to do was for you to bargain with the leader of the clan. I forget his name now, but he was
Oh
like the leader
yeah.
of the kind of like the military style clan.
Mhm.
It was a faction within the Ark, and I'd set it up so you could like bargain with him, and you could like set up a kind of like a truce and like a pact and everything. And instead, she opted to kill him,
Yeah.
and she got lucky with a couple of rolls. And then I was like, you know what? I'm not even making a roll anymore. She's want to do this. She's done it. So she just murders him. It was just a great scene, and it's always stuck with me because it was so funny and it was so out of character for her. And then quickly within the next episode or two, Minnie like really backed away from any of the responsibility of running that particular faction. But that one episode where you had like a half hour where you could see every single person in the stream was like, oh my god. So yeah, that was real fun, and that's the one that I always remember when I think back to the stuff that we done. What about yourself? Does anything you remember?
So this one, maybe because I liked this bit because it was kind of ballsy what I done, but it was literally before we even started doing the stream.
Hmm.
I think it was the week before we were actually going to start streaming, and it was a mutant. Do you remember
Mm-hmm.
the big birds that
Trash talk, yeah.
the my character Dodger just bit a chunk out of and killed it?
That's right.
And it was
Yes,
like
you did indeed.
was it no like I only had like a few rolls and I just
You
scored it.
were. It was yeah. Basically, we didn't really know the mechanics of the games too well at that point, and you were like, "I'm going to use all my mutation points to do this."
Yeah.
Because later on, I had to change the mutation points work because I realized you guys were just using them at crazy times and just like murdering things. Um, but yeah, you used it, and like this thing should have easily killed you. It basically missed or whatever,
Yeah.
and then you just took it out by biting it to death. And again, it was just really funny, so we just let it slide.
And it was the
But yeah,
start of the
yeah.
campaign. I was like, I'm going to take a chance here. I want to have a cool moment for Dodger.
Yeah, yeah.
There was another moment. Actually, it was the first time I played D&D with you, or just
hmm
played D&D in general. Was my character Deadstrike, who was a half orc barbarian. Um,
hmm
and it was
Still exists.
yeah, still to be fair, I've
He's
added
still
him.
in there. He's in one of my roll 20,000 somewhere. He's definitely there.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, yeah.
Should get him into a campaign, just an NPC or something.
Yeah, yeah. yeah.
um,
Most of those players are still in the bar. That they never went to regulars. All
aye.
those players are still in there, so they can all walk in and out anytime. Anyway, continue.
So I was like, I think it was like my first roll or something, and it
hmm
was like me kicking down a door. I can't remember what the enemies were. I think they were dwarfs or they
mm
were goblins.
Yeah.
And like the way the door just basically came off the hinges and killed like I think it was like one or two orcs or something.
I do remember you doing that stuff. Yes, that was a weird thing that happened. There is one other thing that I remember, which I've always has been one of my favorite moments, and it's one of those strings that still continues to this day, and that was the invention of noodle dogs.
I was
Uh,
literally going to mention Blade Runner.
yeah, Blade Runner. Because Blade Runner was a really interesting campaign for us all, because it was the first time you really stretched your kind of RP muscles and
Yeah,
actually played.
that's because of
Because
Leon,
most
to
of the
be
time
fair.
it was just, yeah, you kind of forced you into it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm never going to do this, and you'd done that, and I was really impressed. That was you, Miri, Leon, and
Rachel.
Rachel,
Hmm.
and you all played kind of weird versions of Blade Runners, but yeah. And then we invented Noodle Dogs, and that's just continued from then through every iteration of the games that we play now. And because I think when Rachel tells the story, she ordered a hot dog, and then she forgot she ordered a hot dog, so she said she was eating noodles,
Hmm.
and we mentioned it, and she went, "Oh, like it's noodle dogs," and then that just became a thing
Yeah.
forever. And I was always hoped that we'd eventually get famous, and we could like have shirts with noodle dogs on them. But yeah, Blade Runner was one of my favorite things we've ever done. I don't even know if the videos exist. I think they might.
I think they do. There was probably some on the YouTube, to be fair. Because
I'd
I
imagine
like.
some of them.
Then you go.
I was just say, yeah, I'd imagine they must have been the usual. I actually feel like I should go back and watch some of these to see if we got better or worse as it went on.
Probably worse at this rate. Um,
Uh,
no, that was the one thing I like about the TTRPGs is like the worlds are already made. Like obviously like
mm,
because pop culture because you like Blade Runner.
hmm.
Because also I know bits of the world and I know like obviously if you watch certain films you're like, oh, if I had a character I'd have a character like this in like the Terminator world or
Mm.
Shaun of the Dead or something, let's say.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I feel like there was one me and you were talking about. I can't remember what TTRPG was because I was pure joking about it all. Like, this should be a TTRPG, and I searched up and it was, and I can't remember what one it was though.
I think I mean with us because I do so many of the free league games, um it can because they kind of been getting to the few IPs now, so they've got Aliens, they've got Blade Runner, they've got Walking Dead, plus they've got their own stuff as well.
Hmm.
And it's because it's kind of rules light system, it's always kind of worked well. I'd say the only one of them that never really worked massively well for us anyway was the it's not called Kids on Bikes, Into the Loop, which was a shame because I was really excited about that one, but
Hmm.
I just don't feel like it kind of captured anyone else. The bad thing, the weird thing is, I have got multiple scenarios for that game that we're never going to play because nobody seemed to enjoy it
Oh
apart from
yeah,
me.
I remember that one.
Because I bought the stuff. It's when you just played the kids.
Yeah.
It was meant to be like an 80s kind of adventure movie, and it just didn't seem to capture anyone. So I might try it again at some point. And the other one, what's it they do that I wanted to do as well? I've got the D&D one they do, which is called Dragonbane, which I've got and haven't looked at yet. And oh, that the one that did work quite well, which is also weirdly enjoying. I just done like as a kind of as an idea was the spaceship one. It was were you in that? Were you in the Expanse one?
I was got. Do you know? I absolutely hate.
Yes, you were like a kind of
I
hobo guy, weren't you?
no,
Because
was I
although
not
I
a
would be like,
detective or something?
I forget.
I really can't remember it, but I remember them playing it because I was like basically bullying Leon like the whole time.
Yeah. Well, that one worked really well, but because it was because it had so many rules and rules for stuff, I started getting annoyed during the game because I'm like, why is like there's 15 different skills that basically mean the same thing, and
Hmm.
I got I thought that's just kind of stupid, but but again, I love the world for it, so like I love all that stuff,
Aye.
but hated the rules. So if I'd done that again, I would maybe do the Expanse, but I would run it using like the Alien system instead.
Hmm.
Yeah. So anyway, and to answer your question, the memorable things is Noodle Dogs, Mary shooting some guy in the face, and you and Leon acting your wee socks off for Blade Runner, which I will go back and do Blade Runner again at some point because I really did like
I
that.
like Blade Runner. To be fair, I kind of like
Mm.
cyberpunky, maybe in the like, detective stuff. Maybe that's probably why.
Kind of neo noir, kind of cyberpunk. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean it worked really well because you're all just people.
Hmm.
You know, even when you're robots, you're still just kind of people and you just try to solve a crime. So it's like there's a proper endpoint. Like you're not just gonna walk into the room and start punching people because if you did, it's like, well, how am I going to solve the crime?
Hmm.
And there was also shooting. There was also a quite fun. I think it was quite a fun chase scene in that we done as well.
Wait,
Um,
was it on a flat or something, and they like had to like
yeah,
escape in some way?
yeah, that was more or less it. It was I think some baddies came in. You had to like think of different ways. Like one of these is like jumping out a window. One of these is like sliding down like the elevator cables and stuff. And one
Yeah.
he's like, he's got with different ideas, which I like. I like when you guys get to think on your feet. which isn't always the easiest thing when you're playing these games. Sometimes you say crazy things.
Aye.
But yeah, so those were ons. What's Mr. ChatGPT's next question?
So the other one was, how do you balance the content between TTRPG gameplay and your monthly film podcast to keep both types of audience engaged?
Oh well, we don't have an audience, so they are not engaged.
I mean, we get viewers, so
We do get some viewers,
they
yes.
don't engage with us. So I mean, if you watch, just comment, say you like
I
this
mean,
bit
guys,
or
just
something.
a comment, a like, just go on the YouTube and just leave some comments like, "Hey, man."
To be
It's a
fair,
big ask now.
our third episode got about 4 likes, and I was like, we're getting more likes on the YouTube than now. So it's like going off and on certain platforms, which
Were the few likes, were they weren't off of us though, were they? Because I sometimes go in and like our content and comment and things.
no, I don't think it was actually us. I think
Oh,
it
it's
was
off
just
not us. Hmm.
random people this time.
Randos. They didn't
Um,
dislike it, which is always good.
I mean, I'm hoping we get a dislike on this one. We'll see.
Well, I think for the Zayn Malik content, we're definitely going to get some. If we get anything like "fuck you, man,"
Yeah,
"fuck you,"
pretty much.
he was a hero.
Um,
Anyway,
I guess we just wing it. That's it. We just like
well, I mean, we do a lot. We do a lot more TTRPG content than podcast. We talk about doing podcasts, and in the beginning, we used to do the sanity check-ins quite regularly with all of us, and like you could have like 8 people on that at once. That was insane.
mhm.
Um,
Which are
I can't remember
now
how many of them we actually streamed,
there was
but
only
I feel
about
like we streamed some.
3, but
Yeah,
I've
was it only
I've,
3?
I've just deleted them because they were actually like shit.
Yeah, I mean the problem I had was we said that time there was too many people on it, so you had like 2 people that just didn't say anything, so there's no point in having them on, and then you had like 4 people talking over each other, and then you had 2 people trying to like kind of like take order, but it just never worked. So yeah,
And look where we are
yeah,
now.
we got rid of everybody else apart from me and Logan,
And Sally,
and Sally's here too.
just in spirit.
Yeah,
But we basically just wing it. I think, to be fair, I like the film podcast more anyway
I think
at the
yeah,
moment.
yeah, just me and you bullshitting is kind of fun, but like it's good to have a point to why we're on.
Hmm.
But just because we hadn't streamed in this week, we thought we'd just go and put this on. Like fuck it.
Pretty much, this will be our bonus episode for the week. So
Bonus
everything's back.
episode.
But next question is: do you have any plans to collaborate with other creators in the TTRPG or movie review communities?
Well, we did at one point have there was a group of Scottish streamers that they're not. I don't know if you
We
call them
want
a
to
group or
talk
not.
about it.
Eh?
We want to talk
What I
about
talk
it.
about it?
Aye,
I'm gonna fucking talk about it
on you
right
go.
now. That we were going to collaborate with, but it just they sent us a sheet, and I didn't understand the sheet, and I was like, I don't know what this means. And then I kind of never got back to them, and then none of us got back to them, and they're like, now it's been so long, it's awkward to like contact them. But they still stream quite a lot.
Right.
But I did go and look at what they were streaming a few times, and I'm like, this seems like a bunch of furry stuff to me, and I didn't know how I felt about the furry stuff. So I
I
was like,
mean,
you know
you
what?
you have a fear with the furries. Let's be honest.
I do. Like, I mean, look, I am friends. I am friends with some furries, but like, it's one of the few cosplay things I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this, because some of them are nice, normal people,
Hmm.
and some of them I'm pretty sure are masturbating in there. So I just can't. So if they're still, I wish I could remember their bloody name because they pop up on my phone all the time saying they're streaming.
Hmm.
Maybe we'll get back to them at some point. I would love to collaborate with people and like get stuff out there. I should have went to Tabletop Scotland and maybe got some Scottish streamers and tried to get involved in their stuff. Hey Alex, what's up?
Hi, Dad.
Hey man, you want anything?
No, I just wanted to stay
Okay.
there.
I mean, I'm down to
That's my
go
son.
just for the sake of it to see what it's like, but
I think next year maybe you and I should make it a point of going to that thing and like getting some like sanity check gaming cards made or like RF things,
yeah,
and maybe just speak to some folks and say, look, we're looking to kind of expand our brand. We'd love to turn up and just play some games with other people.
yeah,
Because
I'm down for that next year.
and I think you've collaborated with your friend that whose podcast I went and listened to. 10 out of 10 would watch again.
Oh yeah, aye, yeah.
Hmm.
Which I've still not made an appearance on, but we'll see when that happens.
I know we've never been invited to that one, have we?
No, sadly not.
We've not invited them to be fair. Theirs was actually really good. I was really impressed with their podcast. Like, wow, this is like a real podcast.
Aye.
I was well impressed.
Um,
Not that I've listened to any more of them, but I should because they were actually very entertaining. The lady was. The guy seemed disinterested.
ah,
Um,
but I mean, we've kind of got a few guests coming on for this podcast anyway, because we've got
You do?
Falcon, who is from Real to Trio. He does a lot of the film location stuff, and I know he'll have some cool stories to talk about on like his journeys on finding these locations and like what's happened, like that sort of stuff. I mean, we'll probably get definitely more guests on, but I think we're going to try and get people more related to
Mm-hmm.
film instead. Obviously Falcon because he does film locations.
Yeah, yeah.
But we'll see how
We'll
we
work
all
on
go
some
with that.
stuff. Like, it'd be good if we could find some kind of audience, even if we never got like particularly bid on. Like, if we got some kind of audience, that'd be really useful. Because
Hmm.
then we could say to people like, "Well, come on, this we reach like 1,000 people," you know. But this is it. We're working on it now,
Aye.
and we'll try a bit harder, I
I mean,
guess.
I feel that
You're taking socials now, so you're trying to get someone on TikTok and all that, aren't you? So.
yeah. I mean, I made that description for YouTube. That took a long time to figure out what I was going to write for that.
Mm.
Uh,
So
so
yeah.
so yeah, but we're slowly expanding. I say we're more expanding now than we were last year, if I'm
Yeah.
honest.
I think what happened out the gate, we were really excited about it, and we'd done a lot of stuff, and we were producing a lot of content. And Mary even like she was really shit hot on the YouTube, like putting it onto the proper locations and stuff.
Hmm.
And then as it kind of slowly lost a lot of players, and we ended up with the same people all the time. We kind of lost a lot of stuff. We all kind of lost interest, and we're also busy. We also work full time in that.
Hmm.
And then right now you're kind of obviously on it with the podcast stuff. We missed a trick because we should have been on TikTok from the start, but none of us knew how to edit. So like now Logan does that stuff, and if we'd kind of like use the proper software, because now Logan kind of puts it together in such a way that like it's funnier because of like me saying something dumb and then you're reacting to me saying something
Yeah.
dumb, or just like us bantering,
Aye.
which it works a lot better. Whereas before it was those really tiny videos, so you couldn't really see it, and it was kind of stupid.
Yeah, it took me a while because I have to go through like 3 different apps to cut it. It's so annoying, but I'm like, it is good that what I'm doing for it anyway because we're getting at least 1,000 views on them easily.
Yeah, which I think is great. Yeah, and like it might hopefully that'll lead people to what we actually do.
Yeah.
Um, but that's why I mean, even I know Callum at one point was kind of like animating some of the stuff that we've done, but I think that's a massive undertaking for him, so I can't really blame him for not continuing to do that.
I know it
But
was
yeah,
in the works with some stuff because I don't know if you're looking through the stream the new like
mhm.
our overlay is a bit different now because now I've got a different logo on above you, Lee.
Oh yeah, yeah, I see that. Aye.
So Cal made that as well for us. So thank you, Cal. But he's still working on a few wee things for us anyway.
Mhm.
Which there's no rush for, so I'll probably message him about it anyway. So yeah, got a few things in the works, I guess.
Yeah. Right. What's your next question?
My next question is, what are some challenges you've faced running both TTRPG sessions and film discussions on the same channel, and how have you overcome them?
Well, it's not really been any issues. We've not really bumped into each other because we do it on different days. It's not like we do it at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I feel like we were going to have that problem. Like, see if we started the film podcast during the time we were actually doing like pretty much not every single day with games, but a good chunk of games.
mm,
I feel like we'd have
I
ran
mean,
into it.
there was a time period when not even that long ago. I think it was a year, maybe a year and a half ago now. I was running games like potentially 5 days a week. Like
Yeah,
I
you're
was
doing a
running
lot.
game after game to the point where I had to be like, I'm not doing this anymore. So it was like I was running like 2 or 3. Scott was running a couple. Richard's game was going on sporadically, but I mean, people were running games. And it was just one day we're like, why are we doing this? Like, this is like insane, and it's so difficult to maintain. So we kind of stopped. But
Mm-hmm.
if we'd been doing the podcast as well, what I discovered was by day 4, I just didn't care anymore. So I just
Yeah.
wasn't going to do it. Which is a bit of concern for this week because I'm doing this today. I'm doing the Pumpkin tomorrow. I've got Call of Cthulhu on Monday, and I've got my own game, the one I actually care about, on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see how it works. But yeah, I found that I couldn't spread myself that thin, so I tried and limit myself to 2, max of 3, which is why I'm not going to be in Callum's campaign, which normally I'd have been in it.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought I just can't be involved in that and run my own one and do the film podcast because again, I have a family, I have a full time job, I like to go to the gym and all that kind of stuff. So eventually you've got to say no. You'll be like, this isn't going to consume my life. This is just a thing. Unless it gets massive, in which case I will quit my job immediately and just pump out content.
Actually, I had a question about Callum's campaign.
Mhm.
Is he streaming this?
I would have assumed yes, or else what the fuck is the point? But yeah, I assume so. He's doing a campaign, and when that finishes, Vary's doing a campaign, which I did say I would be part of. Because what I'm hoping to do is Mutant. I'll maybe have like a mid-season break because there's going to be like a thing happens, and then hopefully I take a little break. I don't think Vary's is going to be any longer than a month or two anyway, so then I can just come back with that. But I'm looking forward to getting back into Mutant. To be fair, although the group is goddamn split now, so it's a real pain in the dick. I'm going to have like two separate episodes and then join them back up because I'm not doing that nonsense again where they split up for 3 weeks. It's a nightmare. So anyway, yeah, but
I'm
I
glad
do. I
I'm
would.
not in the campaigns.
Look, man, I would love to have you back, and I'd love there to be more. But it's finding DMs, and it's finding capable DMs, and it's finding consistent DMs. Because anyone that plays TTRPGs knows that you can get a DM that will out the gate be amazing, voices, locations, NPCs, but an out the gate DM is not the same as a 6 month DM. A 6 month DM is not the same as a year DM, and you've got to consistently care enough about the game to keep putting stuff into it. Because players, you guys do crazy things, and then you've got to calculate that and then work out where to go next, or you've got to learn how to steer the story back to where it should be.
Well, mind when I've done my first DM session, never again.
Yeah, that was a nightmare. That's also because we didn't understand the game at all, and we just had made up the rules on the fly, and then later on
Yeah.
found out we were just talking utter shit. So yeah, I forgot you done that. Was the Star Wars one, wasn't
Star
it?
Wars,
Star Wars.
it was a good story to be fair, because it was about you as well, like escaped prisoner for Jabba the Hutt's cousins, whatever camp, I guess.
Bill and Fred the Hunt, yeah.
Yeah, and you will try to basically escape Tatooine.
What actually would work really well for you is see the system that I use, the Free League system. That would work really well for you because there's not very much rules involved, and it's just there's some skills and that's it. The downside of it is like the powers and abilities thing. It's not really a thing, so. But that's why I always suggest the rules light system. Although I've been really getting into the Call of Cthulhu stuff recently,
Right.
and I kind of want to run that, even though it's Scott's thing. I'm like, it could be my thing as well, though, because I could do Call of Cthulhu. He done
Sharing.
Vason, and that's Free League.
He's may as well share.
Yeah, we could. Again, don't worry, we're being precious about this. He run Free League. He run Vason, and that's Free League. I could run a Call of Cthulhu. Because then I can talk all timey, like, hey, look at here, see? That kind of stuff.
I literally zone see every time you talk about like systems and that, and I'm like, you're talking some amount of shit.
Well, that's why I tried to talk about it, because me and Scott will like kind of argue the same points over and over again, and like we kind of disagree but kind of agree, and it must be the most boring thing to listen to because I only talk about Free League systems.
Aye.
And then, but it doesn't matter. I'm not going to go into it. Anyway, Free League, they're the best ones. They sent me free stuff recently for a new RPG they made called the Electric State, and I need to have a look through it. I'm somehow still on their mailing list. They still think I'm important enough to send free copies of things to, so I've just never corrected them. It's like, give me the free stuff. I do buy their stuff as well, though. I do back all their stuff. I'm going to back their Alien 2.2 second edition that they've got releasing next year.
Will Predator be in this one?
I don't think they've got a license for Predator, but I mean, I added Predator in my game. Fuck you,
Oh wait,
Free League. I'll do
I
what I
thought
like.
they licensed that for their game, so you just added that.
I just added that bitch in myself.
And I just guessed that no.
You did guess it, which I thought was really funny. That's actually going back to the memorable thing one time. I remember Leon. If you remember when we done the 3-stage Alien, Leon couldn't turn up on day 2. And then he turned up in day 3 and didn't understand what I was talking about when I said about Predator.
Oh yeah.
So he thought Predator was hanging out with you. And he's like, okay, I'm going to sneak up behind the Predator and shoot it. And I was like, no, no, you're not. And then he died not long after that. Anyway.
Because did I not kill like a...
I think...
I try to shoot someone and everybody was freaking out because it was like just a random civilian. And I'm like, yeah, but I was trying to get us saved.
Yeah, I forgot that. Yeah, you were playing a scientist, and for some reason you tried to execute a civilian.
Yeah.
That wasn't even last year's. That was the year before that. That was like the first Alien one that I ran.
Yeah, so it is.
God, that was a while ago. Anyway, I like that one. I might go back and watch that. Actually, it was very funny.
Hopefully that is clipped. Oh no, it is because Richard done a Terminator one with
Richard did do
with some
with
collaboration person that I don't.
that was the first and only collaboration we ever done. It was Smidge the Goblin on Twitch. We really appreciated Smidge coming. I think she's got a bit of a following. I think she does all right for herself. Let's find out how Smidge is doing. Because she's actually one of the channel's friends. If you look at it, Smidge the Goblin. I'm good. Yeah, she is. Fuck off, you piece of shit. Smedage.
That's what we need to do, is need to collaborate with more people. That is the key for us.
I think so. She's doing all right. She's currently got 448 followers. Her last video. Okay, well, she might not be. She might not be streaming anymore, guys. She's not had a video recently, but her last. She's got a 49-second clip that's got 223 views. So I don't know if she's still doing stuff. But good for you. So, no, okay, I have no idea. Doesn't look like she's doing much these days.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But good for you, Smidge. You've done better than us. We only have, I think, 178. We've got 125 followers. And most of them are us or family members we've made follow us who never come and watch the show.
Pretty much. But I mean, we'll get there eventually.
Well, we just forced people in for the so we got the, what was it called? It's like the first level of it you need, because like the one so we make we make money from our ads. We get like 7 pence every 3 months or something.
It's something wild. Because I seen YouTube and it's like you need to do like another. I think it's like an extra 100, 200 subscribers, and you need to do like some amount of views and all sort of stuff. I was like, I cannot be asked reading this.
Yeah. Well, what about that when we actually start getting some views?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your next question?
That was all the questions that I had. I'm trying to see if there was anything else that we need to talk about, but I don't know. What's happening after the Halloween games? Is it just straight to Mutant again, or?
Well, Mutant's going to be on this month, and it'll be on next month. I'm going to be paying a bit more attention to it. I've just been tired recently, but I've got loads of stuff. There's loads of content in it, so I've actually got hunters. Right now, we're doing what I would call the reptile arc, where they're trying to unite or subjugate one of the tribes. So they're trying to what they've decided to do is get the leader of the reptile tribe. They're trying to depose him and put somebody in place so that the reptiles will kind of follow them, and they're trying to make peace with the badgers. And they've kind of done the badger part already. So all they have to do is get someone in charge who's wanting to work with the badgers, and then they've kind of got 2 of the tribes on their side, and that leaves about 5 or 6 other tribes to try and get on their side. Varying levels of with varying levels of success. I think what we're going to do is reptile tribe, and then move into the they were called the tainted, but we've changed it to the corrupted, because I thought it was really funny when they talked about them having a taint, because that's a silly thing to call things, and I just couldn't bring myself to call it like Taint Town, because it just sounds so stupid. I know, so I changed it to the corrupted. I think that's the next arc we're going to do, but that's kind of starting now, because that's where Rachel and Leon are going. But I need to write that content because I hadn't actually wrote it, but they made me give you some scrying predictions, and I got really angry. So I just gave these scries, and Rachel immediately went, "Oh no, I need to go and save my friend." I'm like, shit, I haven't wrote that yet, so I need to go and write the stuff for Rachel to go and do. But I could this week. I'm probably just going to do the stuff in the reptile tribe, which is going to require some real strong RP, which I'm really looking forward to. And then the following week I'll do the other stuff, and then we'll just we'll roll with it from there. But I've introduced some new characters. What is actually also happening is the storyline of the book has some big, massive things that happen. So it's going to massively affect how the game works overall. But we're going to do the uniting the tribes against the Watchers for a little while and see how it goes and see what they do. And depending on the choices they make will depend when it triggers the next big event. But yeah, there's lots of stuff happening. That's potentially another. I reckon it could easily be another year before we get to the end of that. But they've discovered loads of stuff. There's loads of lore I had to write. They've met a Rocket Raccoon analog who's hanging out with them now. He's cool. He's called Cooper, after the guy that voices him. I should have in the movie. Eh? Well, no, it's Bradley Cooper that
Oh
voices
yeah.
him. It's James Gunn's brother that does the mocap for him
Mhm.
in the movie.
Oh yes, it is. Aye.
Yeah, I know my shit, man. So that's all happening. I'm excited about all that stuff. Although, like in all these games, I get a bit too free and easy with like the points and the giving away of like artifacts. So they got real powerful, real quick. So like I might have to kill a few of them because they're getting real strong.
Oh
But your characters there, your not your monkey, he's dead, but your moose, he was in it a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, what did he do?
Well, Leon brutally attacked him.
Not fuck you, Leon.
Well, Leon didn't know that he was your friend, so he's like, he did discover it was a moose, and I was like, oh, it's a moose, and Leon's like, do I know this moose? I was like, maybe. He went, okay, I attack him. I was like, all right. So they attacked your big friend, which I thought was very funny.
What was my moose called again?
King.
You know what? I'm going to send him a message in the group chat now and say, fuck you, Leon, you're trying to kill King.
Just learned that he's trying to kill King. Well, I left King alive because that means that King's always there if you ever wanted to come back.
Which will be
See,
never. Nah, I'll
which
see.
we never. It was also the reason you made the secondary characters was if your main character died, you were meant to have a secondary character, and then that one would also have a buddy. So you always had like somebody that you would rely on to like take over from you.
Wait, did
That was the reason
Oppenheimer
they
die?
existed. Yeah, Oppenheimer. Yeah, you died because you got into a fight with the gorilla.
No.
Yeah, you did. The Oppie's dead, man.
Wait, what?
You were there. She got killed by the gorilla because you like went into the alley with him. It was like, hey man, fuck you. He's like, no, fuck you, and they killed you.
No, I don't remember that. Oh yeah, do it. Oh yeah. Oh.
Yes, you do. Oppie's dead, and then your friends went and committed a bunch of war crimes, and they also like severely bullied the guy that killed you.
I
They didn't
mean,
kill him though.
I respect that. So they done it in my honor then.
Kind of. I think they just done it because they like bullying people, but yeah. But it all happened. It was very fun.
Fair enough. But
Hmm.
move over me at the what's happening with the film podcast. I feel like we've got a good few couple of episodes left before New Year's.
Yeah. There was actually you mentioned Old Boy earlier on, and like I kind of want to talk about Old Boy.
Oh my god, we should. All right.
When you mentioned it earlier, I'm like, oof, Old Boy's a good one. Like, so once we do this one, just write it down, man. Old Boy should definitely be on the list of ones we watch because that's an amazing film.
Well, this was one thing that I was saying to myself was like, why did Sally pick Coraline? I didn't know it's the 15th anniversary this year for that film.
I think that's just coincidence.
No, well, I'll ask her, but because I seen a lot of the cinemas pure saying, "Oh, they're putting it out," and I'm like, that's convenient. But then, although we don't do Thanksgiving, we do have a Thanksgiving film. We will be doing when Thanksgiving is near, and I mean it's literally right there.
Oh, is that
Planes, Trains, and
Planes, Trains,
Automobiles.
Automobiles? Yeah. I thought it was like that's not. I'm getting. I say that wrong.
I
Yeah,
didn't know.
that's a hell of a movie.
Did not know it was a Thanksgiving movie. I don't. I for some reason I just always thought it was a Christmas film. I think
In
it's
my
just because
mind, it was
it's
a
snow.
Chris. I can see why you think that, but yeah, Thanksgiving also makes sense. The late great John Candy. The
Yep.
problem you get with comedy films is it's really easy just to say, yeah, that was funny. Yeah, that bit was funny as well. That bit was also funny. So we'll need to maybe do our homework on that one.
I mean, I'm all over that man. You know me. If I've no go out on the wall, then I'll no done my research. But these ones, I know a lot.
I'm gonna try and do a load of like actual behind the scenes stuff for History of Violence because I really like that movie. Um, but I'm not gonna do much for the other ones, so we're gonna have to rely on you for like the one you've picked, and we're gonna have to rely on Sally for Caroline and Halloween. Because like I did notice this last time, I feel like it's a bit much to ask us to do the research on all of it.
Yeah.
So I think when we bring our film, we should be maybe have you guys at. You know what? We can do that off screen. That's just me talking about how
We'll
podcasts
figure
work.
that out. But we've got. I mean, even Christmas is coming up and all. So, November, Guy Fawkes.
Oh, what V for Vendetta? What we're gonna watch here?
V for Vendetta.
Is that the only one you could think of?
That's all I can think. There's probably more out there, but just thinking the
We
top.
could make it Hugo Weaving, and we'll each pick a Hugo Weaving movie then. Because he's V. I'll pick Captain America: The First Avenger because he is Red Skull, and Sally can pick Matrix, the first one, because
I
he's the
was
baddie in
literally
that.
thinking about the Matrix. You know what?
We should pick.
I picked Matrix too.
I thought you're picking V for Vendetta. I'm picking Red. I'm picking the Red Skull
Who's
movie, and
in
she's
V?
pick.
Who's in V for Vendetta?
He's V.
No, that's John Hurst. John Hurt.
Fucking isn't.
Yeah, it is.
It is fucking not.
Yeah, it is.
Google that shit right now,
Mate,
and then you'd be prepared to fucking. I
V
can't. Oh,
for
Christ. Vendetta.
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 Oh,
B. Hugo Weaving, biatch.
V for Vendetta.
Hope I'm not wrong, by the way. I'll be really embarrassed if
Oh
I'm wrong
yes,
now.
so it is. Oh, that was John Hurt was Adam
Big fish. Hold on, is it?
Sutler. He was the guy with the what would you call him?
Hold on. I don't know what you're saying.
I don't know. I think it was the voice. I think it's the voice that kind of muddled me a bit. Cause I always thought
I
John.
mean, I don't actually think you see Hugo Weaving's face once
I
in the
don't
whole
think you do.
movie.
No.
I think he's just always got the Guy Fawkes mask. But he is. Yeah,
He's
yeah.
underrated then.
Yeah. Hugo Weaving's one of those kind of brilliant actors. He's actually also done loads of really, really good roles. So it's really a shame that we've reduced him to V for Vendetta, Agent Smith,
Yeah.
and also like he's also Elrond as well. But he's the Red Skull as well.
Actually,
Really stand.
just because you're talking about underrated actors, do you remember Peter Storm?
Peter Strom, yes, of course I do.
Stormer.
Yeah, Stromar.
He
I
is
don't know how you say
now,
it.
for some reason, he's doing these weird advertisements for Call of Duty Black Ops 6.
I've seen that, yeah.
And it's just
I mean,
weird.
good for him. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up. Right, Peter Stromer.
Because he done like a weird trailer for BBC, like he was just a stand-in, and it was just for Black Ops 6, and I was like, what is this?
Peter Stromer is one of those really weird characters that, like, one of those actors that just does stuff.
Yeah.
But he's also like really menacing. But he's got a great face, so good for him.
I feel like he's always more recognizable when he's got the long hair. Because see, when he's got short hair, I don't think it's him.
I mean, I can't argue with that, mate. Yeah. So I just looked at something on my desktop. There was a word that said South Scrimshaw, and I had no idea what it meant. And then I just looked at my Steam library, and it says South Scrimshaw Part 1. I'm like, I don't know what that's talking about. Why is that on my computer? I can only guess that my son has went onto it and installed this game that I have never heard of.
Probably.
So good for him. That was weird. Okay, cool. Right, mate, should lock it up there because that's 10 o'clock.
Aye.
We actually went longer than I thought because that's an hour and 20 minutes. I thought we were going to do like an
pretty
hour. We got excited at the end there talking about stuff that that's where we should have been at the beginning. So we had 40 minutes of me and you going, I don't know. And then it was like, yeah, here's some things we're actually excited about.
But aye, that's pretty much it. We know when we've kind of got a rough idea of what's happening for the future of Sanity Check.
Aye. I really, really do want to get more players. But just in the, like, usually you find players from where you work. And, man, I really should have done something at Comic-Con, but, like, it's hard to approach people and be like, hey, do you play D&D? Do you play it online? Do you want to play with us? Because that's what a crazy person would do.
Well, if you go to the stalls, because there's some D&D stalls, and you could, because mind there was that people made a TTRPG game that I can't remember what they're called on Instagram.
Oh yeah.
But I'll find that out. Actually,
Well, that's why we should have went to Tabletop Scotland. The problem is that we have enough beardy white guys already. So we need some beardy white ladies. Or even unbearded ladies would be good.
Let's go to the circus and we'll find a bearded woman, and that'll be us.
So yeah, we'll have to work on this one. That's why I should have went to Tabletop Scotland, but I wasn't off that weekend, and also it was kind of expensive. But I will go to it next year because I actually was meant to get interviewed by some guy, and then I just didn't go. And I was like, because I couldn't get, not that I couldn't get a day off, I couldn't be asked to try to get the day off.
Aye.
So we should maybe go to some dude that was just wanted to talk about like people that stream games online. It'd be boring. It'd be me like this. Oh, I don't know. We don't really get the
So,
viewers.
so how
But,
did
yeah.
that happen?
Well, Mary mentioned it, and apparently this guy had been talking on Twitter or whatever, like threads, and then I just messaged like, "Look, mate, I'll be there, and I run Sanity Check Gaming." And
Aye.
he's like, "Oh, great. Well, if you come and speak to us, we'll get it sorted." But then I just never messaged him back because I knew I wasn't going to go.
So we could have got a few more viewers.
Well, that's what I'm
possibly.
thinking. We should maybe make the effort to go to one of these things where we see it and actually do it like a Scottish podcast convention, if such a thing exists. But I think it'll be a bunch of fucking losers like us, be like, "Hey man, this is our podcast. Please collab with us. Do you have an audience? Can we have it, please?"
And that's how we
Which
don't
is
get.
also-
That's how we don't get the viewers, folks.
Because we beg. That's fine.
No, because we just called them sweaty nerds.
If there's sweaty, smelly 3D old sock fits, stop smelling it, you creepy, sweaty weirdo. Put it in the bin or wash it.
Okay,
Anyway,
well,
on that note,
that's us. I mean, thank you for listening. I mean, this will also be on our socials anyway, so I'm going to close it off. Say bye-bye, Lee.
cool.